I lost my sister to pneumonia. Well, I lost my sister to Down syndrome. Well, not Down syndrome, but pneumonia. But this pneumonia came about from my sister having Down syndrome. And remember, we said that Down syndrome is a genetic condition that is caused by having extra genetic material in the body. And this translates to having low immune system and low development. So the low immune system makes you susceptible to so many diseases, and anything can take you down. So what took my sister down was pneumonia. My sister was born in July of 2007, and I was 13 going to 14. And it was also my second term of class 8, and I was going to finish school, primary school, that November. So when I came home for the August holiday, we found out that we had a new child. Now our parents had this thing of hiding from us when you're expecting a new child, and you just come home one day and you find you hear a baby crying, and then when you go to check, you find people have a new child, and you're like, bingo, another child was bought from the supermarket. Anyway, so now August holiday is here. My mom is there saying that my sister is sleeping too much and not eating, and I'm like, so what exactly do you want a young born to do? They cannot walk, they cannot talk, they only cry, eat, and soil their diapers. That's the only thing they can do. So if she's sleeping, the better, yeah. Anyway, then August ends, I go to school, I do my KCPE, then I come back home, and it's December, the first week of December. Now, my mother used to study distance learning in Nairobi University. So she would teach during the term, and when the school closes, she would go to Nairobi Uni to go and study. And now we are in December, she has a new child, a newborn baby. She has deferred school for like 3 semesters, and she had also deferred school another time for me. So if you've watched my videos in the other channel, you'll know that I stayed for a long time without seeing my mom over the holidays because she used to study, and that thing stressed me so much. And at some point it got to the way of how I was performing and studying. So my mom decided to take a break and stay with me so that I can try to improve, because I was stressed, guys. I was stressed. Not that I was being mistreated or anything was happening to me at home, no. In fact, my dad used to really step up. But there are roles that your mom cannot play that only your dad can play. And there are roles that your dad can play that he will not do so well because your mom is meant to play them. As in, no parent can fill the other parent's shoes. Even if you try, there'll still be a disconnect. At least as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that's my point, my opinion, and how I feel. So now in December, my mom has to go to school. So she told me, since you finished class 8 and you have you'll have January to stay here, and December and November, what I need you to do is to come with me to Nairobi University so that you'll be babysitting your sister as I go to class. Okay, fine. I didn't have a problem. Well, I would have loved to stay home and do other things, but hey, family, yeah. So in December, we pack up our bags. My mom called a taxi, who happened to be a taxi person, who also happened to be a family member, and we went to school, to school with my mom. And then we got there, and distance learning people used to be given another place to read. So the timetable will be rolled out, and you'll be told, you guys of distance learning, today you'll be in Chiromo, tomorrow you'll be in Dagoretti, tomorrow. Like, they never used to go to the main campus to study. They used to be given branches, and the dormitories used to be, the university used to arrange the dormitories with other schools where these guys will sleep. So in December of 2007, we were to spend our time at Dagoretti High School. So we got there at around 6, we packed and rolled up our bags, we spread our bed, and we settled in. And the first day went on really well. I took care of my sister, I fed her. And then now the second day, okay, let's pause. So when we got there, my mom used to wake up at 4:30, and by 7 she's gone to class, and then she'll come back at 7 in the evening. So from The time my mom leaves the dormitory at 7, she'll come back at 7, it's me who will be nursing my sister. Okay, so I'm supposed to feed her, dress her, stay with her. Yeah, so basically my whole thing used to be taking care of my sister. It was supposed to run for 3 weeks. And then that the first day, Monday, went on well. And Tuesday, my mom went to class as usual. And for some reason, she felt like coming back to the dormitory and checking on us. And she found my sister crying. And when she looked at my sister, she told me, Terry, either you've not been feeding your sister or she's sick because she's withered. You know, like, there's a way, as a mom, I guess you people have instincts of looking at your child and you can just tell something is wrong with her. So me, I fed my sister. But the problem is my sister was having digestive issues. So if she cries so much, I was not able to feed her because I was getting distressed when she cried, so I'd put away the bottle. And I think that also contributed to that wilting that my mother. Anywho, my mom's gut feeling told her to take my sister to Kikuyu Hospital, and off they went. And she was admitted. That was the longest day of my life because I had to stay in a dormitory full of older women than me. I'm just 14 and these women are 40s, and you have to stay in the dorm with them the whole night before my dad and my uncle came and picked me the next day. Yeah, so when my mom got to Kikuyu and they were admitted, she sent a message and asked me to pack up everything and go back home, as in and wait for my dad to come and pick me. Yeah. So the next day, my dad and my uncle, they came, they picked me up. We went and saw my sister in Kikuyu. She was having digestive problems, and I think that is what that was causing her to wilt or something. We saw them and then we went home. At that time now is when, as in that is the first experience that I had of my sister being really unwell and having to be taken to hospital. And you know, there you wonder if there's something wrong that you did that made your sister to be admitted in Hosi or something. Like, I really asked myself that question. But in hindsight now, it was not really my fault, because you cannot, if someone has digestive problems, what can you do? So we came home. I think after a week or two, my mom was discharged from Kikuyu Hospital and she came. So it was still in December holiday. So when she came back, that is when now I started interacting with the name trisomy 21, Down syndrome, surgery, you know, because I used to hear people saying my sister is suffering from trisomy 21, and then another person said surgery, and the next person said my sister has a heart problem. But nobody is really, to be honest, nobody sat down and told me that my sister is suffering from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you know, like to help you get a grip of what is happening or understand really what is going on with your sister. Because when she was admitted, I had a whole list of questions, but I also don't blame my parents really, because I don't think the doctors took the time to explain to my parents what trisomy 21 was. I think they used to read in the letters and they see symptoms of trisomy 21, and yeah. But I remember there's a letter that my auntie sent to us, to my parents, that was explaining a whole lot what Down syndrome was. Did I read that letter those days? I have no idea, guys. But then as a 14-year-old, you can only concentrate on something for so long, especially if your parents are taking care of it, you know, as in, yeah. So that was December. And even in January, my sister continued going in and out of hospital in January, February, and March. And she passed on March 19th, and it was a Monday. Yeah, March 19th. And she passed on 19th, and the World Down Syndrome Day is on 21st March. So she just passed on like 2 days before the World Down Syndrome Day. She was admitted in Gertrude's Hospital, and then she had pneumonia and there was blockage in her lungs. And when she was admitted in the ICU, they tried to I guess they tried to do an effusion, like removing what is blocking your lungs, but I think it was so far gone that, yeah, she breathed her last. She gave up her ghost, yeah. But during this time, between now when I interacted with my sister in November to March, I came to learn that she had a couple of many problems. I'll just highlight them. Like number one, her bone formation was really underdeveloped. She used to go, before when she passed on, we had already enrolled her to a physiotherapist who used to try and massage her leg so that we can try and correct the bone formation. She had digestive problems, so they're explaining why she was admitted in Kikuyu Hospital. She also had hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is a condition whereby the brain holds fluid. There's a fluid that is supposed to, I think, clean the brain, clean your brain and the spinal cord, and it's supposed to go away. But for my sister was remaining in the head, and so it was becoming, her head was becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. She also had a atrioceptor disorder. This in layman's terms is called a hole in the heart. So a hole in the heart, usually when the child is in the mother's womb, it's like the heart is kind of open, so blood just flows freely. But once the child is born, this hole or the gap in the septum is supposed to seal, so that now the blood, the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood flows as should. But in some cases, this hole does not seal. So you find that some of the deoxygenated blood goes into the chambers of the oxygenated blood, and that causes an issue. It will cause the heart to beat more faster. And we all know that blood, deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood is not supposed to mix. If it mixes, it overworks the heart and how the heart is beating. Yeah, so those were the conditions that my sister was suffering from. And this hole in the heart can be corrected, can self-correct, or it can be corrected by monitoring on the monitors in the hospital. There's a way they correct it without having to do an open surgery. If that does not work, the doctors will do open surgery. So for my sister, the hole had to be corrected surgically. So now there's this thing called Mater Heart Run. My parents had given out the details for my sister, and she had been shortlisted to be a beneficiary. However, every time my sister went for a review, her weight kept going down and down and down. You cannot undergo surgery if you have weight problems as a child. So the doctors had put a mark, like once she attains a certain weight, they are going to correct that surgery, like they're going to correct that hole surgically. But she never attained that weight. Like she kept losing the weight every time, and they were not able to do the surgery. And I think even before we could figure out what to do, the pneumonia kept attacking her, and then it goes, it comes back, it goes, it comes back, and yeah, she lost her fight, and she passed on in March of 2007. I'd say my sister was born in 2007. She was born in 2006, yeah. So this is the reason why I talk about Down syndrome and other developmental conditions. As in, my motivator is not her death, like the fact that my sister died. Now I'll talk about Down syndrome. No, as in everybody will die, and death cannot be my drive. The fact that I knew so little about Down syndrome, and even my parents, like everybody in the family, we knew so little about Down syndrome, is what drives me, because there are so many things that happened, good and bad, when my sister was alive, and most of them were triggered by having little information. And I usually feel that creating this channel and talking about Down syndrome and other conditions will lead to a change. Like, I cannot change the whole world and how they perceive developmental conditions, but if I change one person, I have done my part, and that is what drives me. Yeah, so this is why I talk about Down syndrome, and I'll continue talking about it, and everything developmental we will talk about in this channel. And once in a while, we will also include conditions that affect the mind, like mental conditions coming from depression and other things. Yeah, my goal is to have as much information about these conditions on this channel as I can, because once you come here, you'll get educated and you will change the world. You will change the way you perceive a certain person or a certain condition, and that means you will change the world and you will make the world a better place. So that is all for now. That is everything I had to say. That was the hardest video I've ever done. I have retaken it a lot of times because it's so hard to talk about my sister, even if she died like 13 years ago. As in, I think about her almost every time. And like, there's a child who is our neighbor there in the neighborhood. I think she's 2 years or so older than my sister. And when I look at her sometimes, I can't help but think about how my sister would be, what she would love doing, what she'd do. Would she have worked? Would she, these kind of things. But yeah, things went the way they went and we are here. So let me know if you have any question. Your feedback and everything will really be appreciated. So that is it for today. Bye.